DBR is something called deep brain reorienting. It was created by Dr. Frank Corrigan out of Scotland and has made its way really as a hub in Arizona, but all over the United States and all over the world now. DBR essentially is a way to release shock from the body that happens when we experience trauma. The theory goes that trauma happens in a sequence, the sequence being that before I cognitively register that something bad is about to happen, before my brain knows that, before even my fight or flight kicks in, there is an intuitive knowing from the deepest part of my brain, located in my brain stem, that says something bad is about to happen. In that moment, we get what's called an orienting tension. From there, we as humans, we really go straight to the, oh my gosh, I'm sad, I'm scared, I'm in this defensive place, which is our natural response. In doing so, though, what happens is we never fully allow the body to process the shock or that orienting tension that happened when either something bad was happening, or for folks with childhood trauma, maybe our parents couldn't meet our needs, or we were abused, or any of those things that fall under the umbrella of trauma, that all presents with that orienting tension that usually will show up in that neck, around the forehead, or around the eyes. So in DBR, our whole goal is to target, it's not a talk therapy, so it's a way to somatically release the shock, which then allows for further processing. Sometimes we do talk therapy, which is great and it's needed, but we could do the best talk therapy in the world and we may never get to release some of this stuff that's actually stored in the body. So a lot of people ask me what's different than somatic experiencing and DBR. And with somatic experiencing, to my knowledge, you're still up here in the cortical level. DBR is a way to go to the subcortical level. So it's that non-thinking brain. That session is, again, we would do that grounding exercise. We would predetermine what we wanted to work on, which is called the activating stimulus. It's just a very short narrative. A lot of times in talk therapy, we kind of go tell the whole story, and really we're just taking one piece of it, the moment that you knew something was wrong, and that's the only narrative piece that we're working with. From there, what I would say is something like, now notice what happens when you turn your attention towards this moment. From that moment, we're gonna get that orienting tension that again will show up in the back of the neck, the forehead, or around the eyes. And from there, really, the client's role is to essentially just name, what can I notice within my body on a physical level? And the therapist's role is to just to simply reflect, this is shock showing up in the body, this is affect, or what we call emotion showing up in the body. They each have their respective places. You could expect a wide varying responses within the body. Some people might feel tension and pressure here, and then it might move to their chest and it might feel like a hollowing or gaping sensation. Some people might feel like electrical impulses throughout their body. A lot of times our temperature will shift, so some people might get really hot, some people might get really cold. So from there, we allow, first and foremost, for that shock to move throughout that body. And then once that affect comes up, that emotion of it, we know that we've processed what's been stored in there. Afterwards, I'm going to assess for something called a new perspective. So I'm going to ask if there's any change in how you see yourself based on the work that you did here today. And at that point, it's kind of like EMDR, where afterwards I'm going to encourage you to be very tender with yourself. You might have new insights. You might have more awareness of physical sensations. Again, that's really where we use those resources to tap back in and to ground after that session. The wonderful thing about DBR is that there's not much exclusionary criteria, just the simple fact of, can you drop into that subcortical level, which your therapist, myself, would help you to be able to do. If you struggle with that, again, that's probably stemming from dissociation, so it just might take a little bit more time to get to that place, but it is not exclusionary by any means. Where DBR is falling in the EMDR continuum is in phase 2 EMDR. So DBR is technically a resource. A lot of times blocks to EMDR is that that dissociation steps in, or our mind or our bodies are like, nope, we're not ready to go there yet. So DBR is a way to go into the body, again, that subcortical level, clear some of that stuff out, and then move on to your phases of EMDR 3 through 8.